Hey Timmy, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, pretty good here. I can't believe it. Here we are, January 8th,
Yeah,
2025.
2025.
Seems
We've
to
been.
me like we've been off for a month, if you ask me. Doesn't it feel like that?
I'm sure there's a lot of people wish we were.
Yeah. Well, especially in City Hall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey,
What do
well,
we got
listen.
going?
Listen. 2025. I was really praying, that it would start out as a great year for everybody, regardless
Hmm.
of I'm 58 years old now, and I've learned to just like forgive people, and I hope they forgive me. I just want everybody to find a. It's kind of weird as you get older, right? You kind of just want everybody to live a decent life, be happy, and find whatever it is they're searching for in life. Um, but right off the get go, in New Orleans, right, we see
Yeah.
this tragedy. These insane people kill
Yeah.
what 14, 15 people,
14,
drive their
just run
car,
them over with a truck now.
just
I
run them
mean,
over. I mean, what kind of human being on this earth, thinks like that? But
yeah.
there's a lot more. There's a lot
Yeah.
more. Hey, Jimmy, to you, happy. I did a shitty job in the pool, but happy New Year's, and hi, Betty. Good to see you too. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, it was really sad. And then you kick off with this incredible. It's biblical. This fire in California. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's biblical to me.
Some of the videos, it looks like an apocalypse. Some people said it's like driving through hell itself. It's unbelievable.
It's really kind of crazy. But I'm gonna tell you what pisses me off. What pisses me off is this is a tragedy, right? This is a tragedy, one that's for the record books. But it's not nothing new for California, right? I mean, California's been having these wildfires and these droughts since 1841, if I remember my history, going back as far as I could. And the first thing that I read on Twitter, or X, as you want to call it, is Bernie Sanders talking
Hmm.
about this is climate change at its worst, and we have to go right into the new Green Deal. It seems like
Yeah,
these bastards will take every single tragedy and turn it into a political football
yeah,
so that
yeah,
they can get whatever it is they're trying to get politically, right?
yeah, yeah. And you know what? Look at what has actually happened out there is you have all the rain and snow, especially the snow that's on the mountains on out in that area, and when it melts, all instead of using it in their communities, they're letting it flow right back into the Pacific Ocean because they're trying to protect a little fish called a smelt. Okay,
Yeah, I know what
therefore,
it's about this.
right, and they are, and as a result, now you got these fires, Sean, and there's no water in the fire hydrants.
No,
Okay,
this is look at there's a natural disaster combined with a political disaster.
yes,
California has done a terrible job preparing
hmm,
for these fires, right?
yeah,
Everything goes into doing what you need. Look, at I was a firefighter for 27 years. Now, I never seen fires like this. I see
no,
some of the biggest fires you could see in a city setting, right?
yeah,
Block houses. I mean, it's like you look at it and you go, "Holy shit, this is biblical in itself." But
yeah.
these are
Down on
my
Remsen Street, that had to be something for you to see.
well, they were biblical in my eyes. I
Yeah,
mean,
yes, yeah.
they were like stuff you just don't see. It was destructive, but
But
this
imagine your whole town burning down.
Well, this is something that's on a scale that I can't even comprehend, right? I mean, it's miles and miles and miles long.
It's just
I was
total
watch,
devastation.
I'm watching the news, and the guy's standing in front of the house, and the
Hmm.
fire's across the street, and he's talking about the winds blowing 100 miles an hour, the embers blowing. Now I know that because on Ransom Street, the embers were blowing down the street. Next thing you know, house on fire, house on fire, house on
Yeah,
fire.
that
Just
did happen, and it
did
even
happen.
melted siding on houses across the street, if I remember.
Well, while I'm watching the news, the ember jumps over the other side of the street, and within 5 minutes, the other house is burning down.
Wow. Yeah.
But to use this as a political football is sickening at the highest level, right? I
Yes, I
mean,
agree. Yeah.
this is look. I am not. and nobody will convince me. Well, maybe somebody someday, but I'm a pretty stubborn guy, and I am not sold on this whole climate change. Now, are we polluting? Absolutely. Is the temperatures of this world changing? I don't know. I hear scientists that are not political say no, and then I hear the Bernie Sanders and the AOCs saying that it's apocalyptic, and then it's an apocalyptic time, and the whole world's going to end,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
I
I
say to
hear that all
myself,
the time.
what do you believe? Well, I don't believe politicians. But here's
Hmm.
what I do. I mean, there was a time in California where the longest drought was from 2011 to 2017, right? And
Yeah.
the second longest drought, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was 1929 all the way to 1934. So was it climate change back in 1929? Was it climate change in 1887 when one of the worst droughts they had? No, it wasn't. It's just the world we live in. It's the climate that they have. And
Hmm.
what we're seeing is all of these people now living in places that do this when there's a forest fire.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's
you
what's
can't
more
even put it up. Do you realize, Sean, what makes it even worse here, Sean, is that because the they're not they're because they're diverting the water into the Pacific Ocean, right? You can't get fire insurance in California.
yeah,
And
these
that's
people
why
are
these homes are not protected. They're losing everything.
look at there's major multi-zillionaires living up there, and it still
Yeah.
doesn't matter, man, right? Because they are losing their homes too. And anybody that
Yeah.
loses their house, it makes me feel terrible, right?
You
But
lose all your possessions, all your memories.
you lose
Yeah.
everything. But you're right. They can rebuild. There's people that are not going to be able to rebuild.
Hmm.
There's nobody who's going to spend, $40 million when they, had that home 75 years ago and got it for 200,000. And there's
Yeah.
no insurance. So they've lost
Yeah.
everything. They lost
Yeah.
everything. And people
Bob
are
O'Donnell
losing.
says it's Hawaii all over again. It kind of seems so.
Well, he's absolutely right. That whole Hawaii thing still, I've never
Yeah.
been a conspiracy theorist, but funny how, that fire starts, they send all the kids home, these kids die.
Yeah.
Why would you, if that was going on in a block from the school, would you be sending the kids home?
Well, no, their high school. I from the reports here, their high school was even burned. Okay,
Uh,
um, Malibu is becoming a ghost town, Sean. It's literally non-existent anymore.
Yeah, it is. And all the rich people want to buy up the land because it's beautiful oceanfront land.
Yeah,
And, because all these kids died and everybody got killed,
yeah,
there's nobody to leave it because most of those houses are left, passed down generation to
yeah,
generation. Funny, you let the last generation walk home in a firestorm, right?
yeah,
And maybe I'm just, at this point, there's almost nothing I don't at least consider in my mind when it
yeah,
comes to these kind of conspiracies, right? I don't want to be like that. But when people will just get in their car and run you over, kill 15 people, when we let kids out of schools and let them walk right into a fire that's blowing right towards them, when we do that kind of shit, when we blow up the World Trade Center, I don't know if there's anything that we can't think is possible. And that's just my 2 cents. And you got that Gavin Newsom, who's the worst governor. That guy is an asshole from the highest level. You had one of the mayors in one of the cities in California um, cut like $70 million out of the budget, which included the firefighters. So they got no
yeah. They
firefighters.
took
They're
twenty
begging,
million dollars away from the firefighters.
they're begging right now
They
for
even sent
retired firefighters.
firefighter equipment and everything over to Ukraine.
Yeah, yeah, I know. That's what we do in this country, right? We seem to take care of everybody else,
Everybody but
but
ourselves.
our own people. But so my prayers go out to all the people in California. This
Yeah,
is a this. The problem is in 2 or 3 days when you wake up in the middle of the day,
yeah,
you're going to see the true damage, and
yeah.
sadly, it's going to be
right.
epidemic.
And
It's going to be.
and now they're talking. They're going to send another $500 million over to Ukraine. What about the people of North Carolina, Sean?
I was going to say we
Uh,
still have North Carolina. We still have
right,
people in North Carolina. I mean,
and they're living in tents, okay, and stuff like that. Now California, they're going to be living in tents.
yeah, a lot
When
of those people.
we need to start taking care of Americans first. We got our own problems here.
Well, we seem to be a country that has forgotten to take care of Americans
Yeah,
first. I was just watching the news about Social Security, and they're talking about how it's going to run out. And if you just
yeah,
took one batch of money that you sent to Ukraine, you could extend it for 40 years. I mean,
hmm
that's the kind of world we're living in right now.
yeah,
I agree with Harold Feld. Newsom should be in prison, and because the guy is caused a lot of these problems, the crime, the murders, the
yeah,
people going into the stores and stealing all the stuff, the poor people living on
yeah,
living on the streets. And yeah, John,
yeah.
you're right. North Carolina, they got 750
Yeah,
bucks.
and many of them
Okay,
got
we're
denied,
gonna go to the
Sean,
truck.
I probably drank that much on New
down at
Year's Eve, for
Smith's.
Christ's sake. Unfortunately, right?
Yeah,
But I just want to. I knew it was a big topic because I was getting a lot of emails from people asking me what the hell was going on here, and so we reached out. We did some research. I reached out to some firefighter friends of mine.
yeah,
It's just horrible. There's no firefighters hardly to do the. Even if
yeah,
even if there was 10,000 firemen there, you cannot stop nature. You can't stop the wind.
yeah,
You can't stop houses from catching on fire. These kind of fires actually generate their own heat. They generate their own storms. They generate tornadoes. You
yeah. They
watch
do
some of these.
actually.
Yes, they do, man. It's like first and foremost, nothing more powerful than a tsunami. The water, you can't stop it. Secondly, these fires like this, I don't give a shit how many firemen they had there. Nobody is
What
stopping
good
this.
is it though, Sean, when the fire hydrants have no water? Okay,
Well, again,
that is your municipality responsibility.
they
These
were,
people there should be held accountable for that.
well, they were talking about a lot of these up in these mountains. The water is up in these big, well, like water towers, like we
Yeah,
have,
yeah,
right?
they're in
And they were
reservoirs as
empty.
well
They were empty.
because
And
they're
you can blame,
diverting it to the Pacific Ocean to protect
right?
that goddamn fish.
You can blame it on droughts,
Yeah, that
but
little
it's also
smelt fish.
man-made. The
We got to
smelt, the
protect that
schmutz,
filth.
whatever the hell you call them, they're swimming
Yeah,
around without
it's
a
called.
problem.
It's a little tiny fish called a smelt,
Yeah, I
and they
know it
got to
is. They use it
protect
for
it.
bait.
Yeah, so they're turning it and throwing all the water, fresh water, into the Pacific Ocean. Okay, and
Yeah.
now they're burned down to hell.
Merry
Wait, till,
Christmas to you too, John. Thank you, buddy.
Wait till all of this unfolds in the next few days and
Well, here's
weeks.
the problem, Timmy. We've watched
hmm
this year after year after year.
Yeah,
Nothing will happen to a politician
no, I
unless it's
agree.
a politically motivated Donald Trump attack, right? I mean, they're still worrying
Yeah,
about putting this guy and making him a felon. What are they trying to do? We'll get to that in another segment. But hey, listen, before we move on to the next segment, Tim, I just want to ask everybody help us continue to grow. Subscribe, like, share. We really appreciate it. We picked up almost 250 followers actually while we were off on vacation. So I appreciate that. Hey, so Timmy, you know what? Once in a while, there's some good news in Cohoes. Believe it or not.
yeah,
I mean,
something happened.
yeah. I mean, it's not good every day. That's for sure. There's a lot of
hmm
crime going on. There's a lot of vandalism going on, and so in essence, the current administration's continuing their long tradition of just letting the city fall to shit. That's for sure. But the good news is April. There she is, April Trudeau. She made history, right? She's the first female to represent the Sixth Ward, which is awesome.
Yep.
And boy, what a great time because the Sixth Ward is seeing its share of shit going on down there,
No
right?
shit. They're prying open car gasoline covers so that they can steal gas now. That's
Ciphering the
happening.
gas out of a
There's
car.
the kids are throwing rocks. So there's a rock tossing going on. So you got vandalism. You got people going around pulling on door handles to see if they open so they can rob you. Whatever's left in your car, and
Yeah.
she's not in the office a couple of days, and all this shit hits.
Well, here, let me give her a little advice. Send an email to the mayor and ask him why he stopped the foot patrols on the island. Ask him why he stopped the one car patrol down the island. See, we took one car and it never left the island, which means
Yeah.
every 6 seconds you've seen it driving by, right? We
Pretty
also
much, yeah.
had beats. We had the cops walking the beat. You're not going to catch these kind of criminals if you're
Yeah.
not down there looking for them.
And I could tell you,
And-
she drove all around the island at night. Not one night, but 2 different nights. Right? Didn't see a single police car down there.
Listen, they're worried about changing the street speed from 30 to 25, right?
Yeah.
I had to tell Governor asshole Cuomo that I was going to park a fire truck and lay in the middle of 787 if they did not fix it. They did not care how many kids got hit on that. You know how I convinced them to spend money on it? Through economic development. Because we were then able to take it from a highway, turn it
Yeah.
into a regular road, and we could put cutouts and open up all that land that was blocked. So I
Yeah.
said, you know what? That's fine. We'll talk about it in unison. It's an economic development project as well as a safety project. I get it. If you talk about just safety, there's 1,000 roads that the state of New York has screwed up, and they'd
Yeah.
have to be forced to fix them all. But the moral of the story is $15 million. We slowed down traffic. It was a beautiful place. They haven't cut the grass. They don't take care of it. They've ruined that like everything else. But I never see a police car on 787.
No,
I never.
That's a good point because I don't.
You won't.
But she's saying that she doesn't see the patrols on the island, and look at when she was running her campaign down there too. It was an event when you saw a police car on the
We
island.
had a cop
It's just
down
not
there. That was it. When they got to the police station, one went to the island,
Yeah.
one went to the city, one went to the hill. The supervisor would rotate to all those places.
Yeah.
And when the supervisor went to the island, the cops on the island would park their car and they would walk. We put together a nighttime, more like an afternoon. I think it was 3 to 11. But we put together a second shift of detectives. So when the detective was out, we'd have them doing some common patrol as well, so that we could send him to the island. He would continue to patrol while the cops walked. There was always a cop in a car and 2 cops walking. If you seen them walking, there was still a car down there patrolling. If you seen them on the hill walking, and you never knew when they were walking, when you would see them, when the cars. We set up a whole system. The first thing Keeler did was said that was Morris's job. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And ever since then, just go down the island. We didn't have broken windows. Look, we had kids who, if you left your car door open, I guarantee you they're going to take your change. But these are people throwing rocks through windows, ciphering gas. It takes a little time to cipher gas if a car.
The one woman said her entire gas, she had a full tank and her entire gas tank was drained.
So if a freaking cop car, if a cop car is on the island, it takes 3 minutes to go from one end to the other.
Mm-hmm.
You won't be able to do those type of crimes.
Yeah. And this is going on. Yeah.
Video after video of people going up stealing stuff on people's porches. So, April, you got a lot of work ahead of you. I really do. I was a strong supporter. I called everybody I knew. I did everything I could to help you win. I just hope that you become a strong, independent voice. Remember something. The mayor is not your buddy. You're not going to his house swimming, okay? He's not buying you Christmas presents, okay? He don't care. He's the mayor, and he's got a job to do.
He didn't even show up. He didn't even show up for her getting sworn in, okay?
First woman
or for
ever.
the other council members, for that matter, having their
Well,
electing their officers. He
I
didn't
thought
give a
that
shit.
I said he had a job. I didn't say he had class. Okay,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
difference. But
yeah,
I don't want her to become what so many politicians become, which are puppets being easily led around. Oh, she goes to the mayor and he says, "I don't want to do this. You shouldn't do that." Blah blah blah. And next thing you know, they'll be like, "Oh, the mayor doesn't want to do that." I don't care what the mayor wants. You are a advocate.
yeah,
Plain and simple. In city government, your job is to be an advocate. There's not a lot of power within the city council politically other
yeah.
than the budget process, right?
Well, all you could do is
But there's a
bounce
lot of
things off them, right? Because they don't have the power to really do anything with DPW. The commissioner's got to do it, or the police.
no.
Keeler he's the commissioner of public safety. So those problems on the island are his to deal with.
Well, there even if he wasn't, he's the mayor. There always
Yes,
But April is the advocate. And
yeah,
if something's going wrong, she is to meet with their people and deliver the message back to the powers to be. And
yeah,
her power comes in when they don't do nothing. And she says to the people, "Hey, I delivered your message."
yep,
And nobody did anything. And I'm going
hmm
to tell you something. I was in the county legislature, right? My first week there, I was delivering messages on the floor, on the microphone, where everybody could hear me. I wasn't there to make friends. I'd
hmm
like to have them like me, but I certainly didn't care. I wasn't going to hang out with them for Hanukkah, right?
yeah,
I cared that they got things done. I hope she does the same. I hope she doesn't fall into that trap.
yep.
I
Well,
I
she's
know
young.
so.
She's got a learning curve. She's wet behind the ears,
Well, look at
all that stuff.
Alicio.
But she'll
I
figure
go.
it. She's not going to be a puppet
That's what I hope. I'm saying
or a bobblehead.
Alicio started out when I had conversations with him, and he sounded like he was going to be this strong advocate, independent voice, blah 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 blah. And he's one of 100 people that I know that got into politics with great intentions,
Yeah,
and then just somehow felt like somebody with a higher position was their boss. Well,
yeah,
they're not.
McCarthy.
Yeah,
You-
McCarthy. Well,
Mc,
lapdog.
Yeah, lapdog. Because what happened in the case where regarding, the Golden Cross Bakery property and all that stuff, people were talking about it, and what's Alicia say? Well, I was told not to talk about or say anything like that. Where'd he get that from? McCarthy. Okay, he's got to, April. You got to be your own thinker. Okay, listen
Yeah,
to the
if
people.
you don't do your own thing, you won't be there long.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. And
But I have a great feeling that she will do an
I
amazing
think
job.
she'll be fine. But look at um, she has been putting on things on out, notifying people what's going on. I know that she did email the mayor regarding what's going on down with the rock throwing and the theft of gas. And his answer was basically bring it to the neighborhood watch group down there.
Oh, so that's the bullshit that I
That
would tell her to say. No, I'm not bringing it to the neighborhood watch. I'm bringing it to you. The
yeah,
neighborhood watch is really only another group of citizens that bring stuff to the council person so that they can bring it back to the mayor.
right.
I mean, it's just stupid.
It
That's how
is.
dumb he is. He's as dumb as he looks if he's saying that
It
crap.
happened, Sean. I'm telling you, it happened.
I mean, the
Okay.
bottom line is, I'd be saying to him, listen, I'm telling you. And if you don't do it, I'll go back and tell them I told you, and you wouldn't
Yeah.
do nothing.
I told her to post that stuff. If he sends you an email or a message back, post it, and then people will be able to see, hey, I let him know, and this is his answer. Remember what he said, Sean. If you don't feel safe in Cohoes, move.
Ah, it's funny you said that because Big Ted just put that up. I was just going to read it. But hey, April, I've been there. I've done it. I understand it. It's not always easy. You can sell your opinion, never sell your morals.
Yep.
Okay.
Go-
You can
Yep.
give away your opinion for the good of the caucus, for the good of trying to be united, but you can't sell your morals and your
Mhm.
moral values. And I used to say to Frank Camiso,
Mhm.
he'd call me up and say, "We really need your vote on this." And I'd say, "Frank, listen, if I think the wall should be blue and you think it should be red, and you're the leader of our pack, I'll say, fine, make it red. If you're asking me to vote to close down the Albany County Nursing Home, go screw yourself because I have a moral compass and that doesn't change for anybody." And
Yeah.
so he would call me up and go, "Hey, Sean, I'm just, I got to call and ask, but I know where you stand on this. But would you be willing to do this?" and he was the leader. And I say no, sorry.
Yeah,
And the Albany County Nursing Home survived every year by one vote. Sean
yeah,
Moore's one vote, and at the
mhm,
end they built a new one. And one of the
yeah,
nicest thing that ever happened to me is I got all these cards sent to me from workers and everybody else that said, "Thank you for saving our nursing home." And it
yeah,
wasn't that I was there to save the nursing home. It was because I was the voice of the people. I understood what I was supposed to do. I wasn't going to become part of the clique. I don't need to hang around with Higgins or Biggs or the, Izo. You don't need to hang around with any of those people. You can be
mhm.
cordial with them, but you fight, you fight for the people of Sixth Ward.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned the ISO, I just want to let you know, Sean, we are approaching the 1 year anniversary of the Orchard Street parking lot blockade that they managed to sell. Okay,
Remember,
Sean Van Sleet said, "Hey, here we are approaching our 1 year anniversary," and he goes, "And it's still blockaded." Okay, but anyway, look at. They scared these guys into selling the lot because they said, "Oh, it's an insurance liability now." Okay.
yeah,
Well, Napier said we got like 150 lots to sell. Where are they? There's been no other sale of any other lots, Sean.
yeah, yeah.
None.
Did they ever sell
Okay.
that lot?
I think they did, but I'm not sure
So
what's
they
going
sold the
on. I
lot
can only tell you it's still blockaded. But why was that one lot singled out?
because they
Because
didn't want to plow it and
they
because
didn't
people
want to
raised their
plow it,
concerns.
and not a single parking lot owned by the city, okay, after this one was sold again. It was all political bullshit for the mayor to bully, okay, people like on the Orchard, okay,
Look, and it was twofold, right?
yeah,
God bless our good friend Billy Smith, but he
yeah,
wasn't going to do shit for Billy because Billy
right,
had the courage to stand up to the guy, right?
yeah,
And
hmm,
secondly, they didn't want to plow it. Steve Hennessy somehow he was knighted as king of Cohoes.
yeah,
Whatever he says, he's fucked up more stuff in this city than anybody has ever done in the history of this city in DPW. As long as I've been in this city, anyway, for 58 years. Okay,
yeah, and
and
I got it right, and I got in front of my driveway, right smack in front of it, right. I got a probably about 15 foot long by 2 foot wide pothole that I've been complaining about for 3 years now. Okay, I even went to Higgins. Higgins tells me he went to Commissioner Hennessy. Still can't get it fixed, Sean. You
how
know
about
why?
this?
Because I'm doing this podcast with you. It's your
Well,
fault.
it's my fault. So since it's my fault, you and I will go buy some coal patch and we'll
Uh-huh.
fill it ourselves. Arnold Schwarzenegger did it in California. Why
Yeah,
can't you and I? We'll
yeah,
we'll actually we'll actually fill the pothole. We'll put our pictures into it. We'll push it in,
hmm,
and they'll know that you and I
yeah.
filled the pothole.
Yeah,
So
so I'm paying
I'll
the price for the podcast, but yeah, I can't get the street pot thing filled. And Higgins, he broke my heart. He didn't go back to Hennessy and say, "Hey, when are you going to take care of Tim's pothole?"
well, he was busy. They were
Yeah.
they were paving
Well,
West.
I sent them an email, him and Biggs, only days ago, right? Plus, I sent a letter to Adam Biggs, council president, right? Haven't heard peep from him, but I do know they opened up the emails and read them. Okay, this
Well,
is
listen,
what
Adam is the
happens.
president again, right? Tell me that
Yeah,
story because you were there. What
yeah.
was it? He didn't want to be, and then he at the last minute he whined
He
and
changed
cried.
his mind. He goes, "Yeah, I got to be president again."
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
so what
so they
has he
caved
done?
in, right? Say
What
again.
has he done? What has he done as president? Now, listen, I said this before. If I ever, well, if my son's listening to this, because my son is, I think, just like this kid. If
Yeah.
you're looking for a wonderful man, a man that is kind, a man that outside of politics would probably give you his shirt off his back. He's a
Mhm.
gentleman. He's a. If you have kids, you want to raise your kid to be like him because that's the nice gentleman kind of guy he is. In
Yeah.
politics,
Adam.
he's
Yeah.
got no spine, he's got no backbone, he's got no balls.
Yeah.
And therefore, for him to think that somehow being president of the nothing is making the city better, all you have to do is look at everybody on the council and ask yourself, are they not responsible for the downfall of our city over the last couple years?
Hmm.
Because
Well,
if
look at
they've done,
all you got to do is go up to the reservoir, Sean, and look at probably 50 or more stacked cases. I would say is even more closer to maybe 200 of solar panels that's still sitting there
sitting out there in the snow and the
in the
rain,
snow and the ice and the rain, and nothing's getting done.
and they've neglected that water treatment facility so bad
Yeah.
that there's mice in the freaking place eating through shit inside the drawers, right?
Yeah. Mm.
It's dirty, it's filthy. Every single thing that Hennessy has been in charge of, he has destroyed. The only thing the guy knows how to do is look at. I'll tell you this: he knows how to use those, run that equipment. He knows how to move dirt. He knows how to
Yeah.
do a lot of stuff on his own.
Hmm.
He is
Yeah.
a
He can
he's
run
a
a backhoe. He can
yeah, he's
drive a
fantastic
truck.
at
Yeah.
what he is at. He's
Yeah.
a terrible leader. He's a
But
terrible boss. He thinks he knows everything.
well, he's not a people
Nobody,
person. Everybody says the same thing. Not a people person, Sean. Doesn't know
nobody,
how to manage people.
nobody with a license. No, let me rewind that. Only those with a license should be messing around with the chemicals at the filtration plant.
Yeah.
Not a guy who doesn't know anything about it. Like the time he messed around with the chlorine and it was like,
Yeah. Waterford was calling up and said, "Bleh, bleh, bleh,
well,
what are
you'd
you
open
doing
up
to
the
us?"
fountain and it smelled like the community center swimming.
Yeah. Like the pool, right? The community center pool. Yeah.
Well, my buddy Jimmy just said something, and he said something to the fact that there's a sewer line up on Manor Avenue. Let me just see if I can read his.
He said, look at the sewer falling into the road on Manor, okay? Yeah, which he's right. I think it's on the corner of Berkeley and Manor Avenue. Okay, this thing is sinking right down into the ground, maybe at least 6, 8 inches, right? And not further up the road on the corner of Massachusetts and North 2nd Street is another one. It's dropped down maybe 8 inches. You take a right hand turn and you don't see it at night, your car is up to the bumper, okay, from landing in that storm sewer.
I'm going to tell you this: every single mayor who runs a city has
Yeah,
all of these problems with
they
water
do.
breaks. The question is not whether one mayor is better than the other at water breaks, because we all have them, right?
Yes, yep,
What
it's
makes
true.
one guy or one gal better than the next is how they handle them. And they
Yeah,
do a shitty job handling them. I could not sleep if there was a water break and in the morning I drove by it because I would drive this city every day. And those big stones you fill the hole with, if they were all over the street, I'd have a conniption fit. I made sure that those stones were in there. People weren't being, inconvenienced, running
hmm,
over them, bouncing, hitting potholes, breaking their tires. We would address those things immediately. I see some of these things sitting here for months,
yeah, and they are,
months.
and that's no kidding, Sean. I mean, and I think they're down what eight DPW employees, and I'll tell you right now, for those who don't know this, all you got to do is after 3 o'clock, between three, these DPW guys are out here at 6 o'clock at night, and I believe they're not our regular guys. They're either contractors or someone else using city trucks, okay, on overtime.
No, I look at. I was told that
Correct
some
me
of
if
these
I'm
guys.
wrong.
I think you're wrong. Happy New Year. I was told, and I don't know how true it is.
Yeah,
I'm told that some of these guys are making 80, 90, $100,000 a year with overtime. And God
really.
bless them. I hope they do well.
Hey, if they
You
want
know,
it, so be it. Yeah.
but the reason is because nobody wants to work for them.
Hmm.
Everybody's quitting. They have no workforce.
Yeah.
All you
They
have to
are
do is
losing
just
a lot
drive
of.
around. There's
Got one
there's no
mechanic
work.
for 50 vehicles.
Yeah, and it's just they're pathetic at the highest level when it comes to that. But
Yeah.
hey, Timmy, you know what? I want to talk about something else because it just gets my goat, man. We
Hmm.
talk about this Kathy Hochul as
Right.
the governor, and how incompetent this woman is. Right? I
Hmm.
mean, I've never seen a woman. Um, Geez, I don't know. I never seen a woman. I don't want to say so dumb in my life because women are not dumb. She just
Nope.
happens to be the dumb woman
Right.
who's in
She is.
power. She just happens to be a woman who's got no brains at
Y-
all. Let me take the woman out of it. She happens to be a governor that has no
Yeah.
brains. She
Yeah.
doesn't think things through. She thinks stupid shit is what we care about. And
Congestion tax.
one of those things is this new
Yeah.
congestion tax.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so take a look at that, Timmy. This
Um,
congestion tax um, is $9. Well, New
$9
York
to go into
City,
New York City.
yeah, but it's even more than that. New York City's become the most expensive city in the United States to drive in.
Hmm.
It costs the average guy between $9 and $27 to get to Manhattan, right? I mean, that's
Yes.
double what it costs to go over the
Right.
Golden Gate Bridge or go into Chicago over the Skyway. Double,
Hmm.
and that's crazy. And I think what I read is that you had drivers with two axle cars between $9 and $20. Easy Pass 13 to 50 to 27 without the Easy Pass. And this congestion zone, Timmy, I mean, it is big, and it's so confusing because there's one-way streets, there's turns that you have to take. You could be trying to stay off this congestion zone, but the only way to get to your house around the cul-de-sac is you got to cross this imaginary line,
And you got to
and they're
pay
whacking you.
$9.
They're
Yeah.
whacking you $9 to go from your house to your buddy's house, three houses down the street, right?
Right. And
And
if you
it's
don't
just
pay it, you got to sit outside waiting for a subway for someone to throw you on the tracks.
yeah. That see the whole goal of this thing really is to push people onto the mass transit.
Yeah.
Now, right now, like Cohoes, the mass transit is a disaster, right?
Hmm.
I mean, God bless this illegal immigrant lights a girl on fire and burns her to death. They're shooting each other. They're killing each other. There's no cops down there. Why? Why isn't the place? They have cops just assigned, to the transit. Why ain't they down there? It is the
Yeah.
most dangerous place to be. You think you're going to push me out of my car to go to a subway so they can light me on fire? It's
Yeah.
not happening. Now, I understand there's a lot of people that travel those subways and never have a problem. But that's
Hmm. Yeah.
irrelevant because if one person gets burned to death, that's more than we need to say, what the hell's going on? So now they charge you this $9. What if you're a business? What are they doing if there's a funeral and you got to drive by? What are they
Yeah.
doing for like Lyft and Uber and City Bike? And what are they doing for
UPS,
the UPS?
FedEx,
Everybody's
Amazon.
going to see that price increase in their product in New
Yeah.
York. It's not just going to be the city because if UPS is going there 1,000 times a day, they're going to pass that on. They're not just going to be able to pass it on to one person.
Yeah.
Every one of us are going to feel the effect of her stupid
Yeah.
policy. I mean, there's got to be a better way. There really has to be a better way.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was thinking about, I mean, what solution is really for other than all these people say to hell with you, we're not coming in there to do business with you because they're just killing the business environment down there. Imagine
they're
imagine living
killing
in
New
New York
York.
City and trying to get a package. They say, hey, okay, look at it. Here's your package, but you only owe me $15 for having it
$54
delivered to you.
for a $4 button that you order, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not just that. Think of like being in the suburbs. Think about living up by McDonald Drive,
Yeah.
and you live by the park,
Yeah.
and your sister lives down the other end.
Yeah.
Well, the way this district is all cut up, and the confusing part of it is, if you drive from your house in the suburbs down to your sister's, it's $9. And there's parking garages that are right on the lip. And if you go out of the parking garage, if you pull in the parking garage, it's free. But if
Yeah.
you go out of the parking garage and you have to go north, and you only have to go 30 foot to get on to the throughway, it's $9. It's
Wow.
insane.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I was listening to this guy. Here's what he said. He said it's like putting a toll on a suburb street in the middle of a subdivision, which basically, if you live in one house and you want to visit your friend in the other on the cul-de-sac, there's going to be a toll for you to go visit him at his house. So he said, I'm not going to be able to do that. So I got to get a can on one end and he's get a can, or pull the string and we'll talk because we're that close. But it's $9 each to visit. It's just
It's
insane.
crazy. It's
It's
crazy.
insane.
Uh, you know, I was thinking that the only what happens if you're taking the MTA train or whatever, the metro train down there, okay, to go to Yankee Stadium and all that stuff? Does it impact not only these, I would say, subways and the trains? There's
No,
just
it's just
vehicles,
it really just impacts
vehicles, right?
this. Well, his vehicles are driving into Manhattan. I think it's 60th Street all the way up
Yeah,
to like the Brooklyn Bridge. I mean,
yeah,
I don't live in New York City and I don't know it well enough to say this is it. But when I was reading it, I was trying to figure out the zone, and it was showing how confusing it is because some of the streets, I'll be driving down this street, right? And I got to go over to one street to get off of that
yeah.
street because it's a dead end,
And it's only
right? I
during
can't.
certain times of the day, too,
Well,
Sean. I
it's from
mean,
6 in the
what?
morning to 9 o'clock at night. That's a long freaking day.
Yeah, okay. I thought it
But
was a shorter
let me
window.
let me tell you what they didn't think about. They didn't
Hmm.
think about the firefighters in New York City. Because here's what's happening to the firefighters. You have all these firefighters driving to work for the city, putting their
Yeah.
lives online. New York City firemen. So they drive to Manhattan. Now they got to pay to go to work to the city. Okay?
Yeah.
Now that's not it. Hear me now. 200 to 250 times every single day, a firefighter who's working in one firehouse is going to get shifted and moved to another firehouse for a host of reasons. Somebody leaves sick. Somebody's, leaves half a day vacation. There's an emergency and that engine had to go assist the other
Yeah.
engine.
They're on call somewhere
But
else.
there's 1,000 reasons, right? Now they
Yeah.
they call you up and say, "Oh, Timmy, you got to now go to this firehouse." Well, now when you get in your car to go to the next firehouse,
Yeah.
$9.
Yeah. I got to cross the tunnel to come on over on the other side. Okay. And I got to shell out $9.
Yeah. So all these firefighters are saying, "Hey, we're not going to drive our cars into Manhattan and pay to come to work for the city, and then have to pay the city to come to work for them. Just doesn't make sense." And I agree. I wouldn't do it either. So now they're being pushed onto the mass transit. They have to carry 100 pounds of fireman gear. So
Yeah.
what do? You got your boots, you got your coat, you got all your stuff. You're trying to get on the subway. It's absurd. So you know what's happening? Since they don't have their own cars, the fire engine now has to drive them to where they got to go. So now if you're at an emergency, let's just say one firehouse has an emergency and they have to leave. And then they ring the bell down here and say, "Sean and Timmy, you now got to go cover that firehouse." Now
Yeah.
that fire truck is the only way you can get there because you're not taking your car no more.
Hmm.
And now that fire truck is leaving where it's supposed to be in the area where it protects the people, and it drives all the way down the other part of the city to
Yeah.
drop those firemen off. And now there's a fire, or there's an emergency, or an accident, or a baby's getting delivered, or whatever. There's nobody there because they had to
Yeah.
drop the people off at the other firehouse 200 times a day.
Yeah, and you know what, Sean? And I don't know if you know much about this, but you know the toll by mail system. You know,
Yeah, I used to get it. I used to get the what do you
yeah,
call
you
you
go
owe us
through the
money.
Easy Pass, and then next thing you know, a bill shows up in the mail. They're billing you not only for the toll, for the postage to send you the letter, then maybe a $2 or $3 fine. So a toll that should have
Two or three,
cost you maybe $1 ends up costing you $9.
$2 or $3. Timmy, listen, my daughter
Yeah,
drove through, and I was getting all these letters in the mail from the
Easy Pass, right?
Easy Pass, and I never opened it because I always got letters from the Easy Pass showing me how much I spent, and
Yeah.
they replenish what is it? They add more money,
Yeah,
replenish.
they
They
find you or
replenish.
something.
Yeah, so every time you use an Easy Pass, after you get down to a minimum, they
Yeah.
refund it back up to the $25.
Hmm.
So let's just say I drove my Easy Pass and I used $7, and I'm down to 14. They would say I'd get a letter and it would say, "Dear Mr. Morris, we replenished your Easy account," and it was just them telling me that I went on some trips and
Yeah.
they put more, they took money out of my account. So why
Mm.
would I open them? I knew I went on the trips. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know. So I'm getting all these things in the mail. You know how much it was?
Tell me,
F-
$30?
50, 50 cent for the toll, $25 for the fucking fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
At one
That's what
time,
I'm telling you.
at one time, I had 11 of them. They wanted
Wow.
over $350 because mine weren't the $25 ones. Mine were now 50 because I never opened them up.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, they want $500 for about $7.30 worth of
Right.
tolls.
Right. Tolls. And this is
So
New York. And this is, what a mess that
yeah,
thing
yeah.
turned out.
So here's what
You
I
know,
said. I
yeah.
said, you know what? You ain't getting me. I know
Yeah.
what I'm going to do. So I ripped them up. I threw them in the garbage. I said, I ain't paying them assholes.
Yeah.
So I go to register my car and they go, not so fast. You
Yeah.
can't register your car till you pay the
Yeah. That's
$500.
what they did. Yeah. They do that to you too. Yep.
Mm.
There's just no escape. All right.
There's no
Yeah.
escape. It's like New York
And
City
you know why that
has
all
you.
happens? Because of the
Yeah.
license plate reader cams, okay? Which which we talked about last show, okay? Those reader cams do not record speed. They simply snap a photo of your license plate. And as I said before, Sean, the technology of these cams, that if you have, say, bumper stickers or something on your car, the make or the trim, or these cams, they're create a 3D image, so your car is distinguishable from another car similar. Okay,
Yeah.
but really, all of this stuff is boiling down to technology and using license plate reader cams, and that's why you got a $500 toll.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had to pay it, not her. New York
Right?
City. No, excuse me. Albany, New York.
Yeah.
Albany, New York. Bob, you'll like this one. Where are you? Albany, New York puts in some readers for speed by schools. Okay. I get
Yeah.
it. I get it. School zones, buses, you got to
Yeah.
travel a little light, right? Kids are
15 or
running.
20 miles per hour.
I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. But they put these things up, and within a month, they got $790,000 in tickets for
Wow.
everybody. Okay, but there's same thing with the speed limit. So
Yeah.
Cohoes follows Albany, right? One moron follows the other, and
Right.
they change the speed from 30 to 25.
Right.
Nobody changes the speed signs.
Right.
Except if you go up, you're gonna like this one. Everybody who just sent me something, it was Jimmy Carroll. He'll like this one.
Yeah.
Except for Western Avenue. When you go up Western Avenue, there's two signs right next to each other, but they face
Ri-
the opposite way,
Right.
right?
Right.
One's so when you're coming this way, one's so you're going the other way.
Yeah. East
So
and west.
one's east, one's west. Absolutely. So when you're going east and you're driving, it
Right.
says 25.
Right.
When you're going west and you're driving, it says 30.
Right. On the same one, on the
On the
same
same
width of road,
street,
same road.
it's a
Yep.
one lane road, same
Hmm.
street, and the signs are right next to each other.
Yeah.
That's how incompetent they are. They can't even
Right.
get the street signs right.
And
So
right on the
if you
corner of St. Agnes and the Western Avenue are two license plate reader cams. For the life of me,
yeah,
I don't know why they're there. Okay, but they're
listen,
there.
I get it. We had bad hombres come into the city and were shooting at people,
Yeah,
and we didn't have license plate readers. We were
they
going to
do
get 'em.
serve a good purpose, though.
Yeah, we were going to get them. Luckily, we had cameras,
Hmm.
and the cameras caught the people. But the
Hmm.
license reader would have been a lot better because it took a long time. They had to
Well,
come back to the city three
they
times.
operate similar to your cell phone pinging a tower. Okay, the reader cam snap a photo and it sends it sends that out by cell phone, and you know what vehicle was in that area at that moment of time. Same principle, really.
But the reality is, they're just doing these things to make money. It's a money hungry grab for a
Yeah.
state that's so left, so liberal, so woke that they spend
Hmm.
your money like you would never, ever take the money
Yeah.
that you have in your house and spend it on the crazy shit that they do, and
Yeah.
then they run out of money and they've taxed us to death. We see all this bullshit going on with businesses. They're going to be putting businesses out of I don't know. I don't
Business.
know if they're gonna. I don't know if the business is gonna go out of business or if it's gonna just say I'm going out of this state. But you're seeing
Hmm.
this state has done terrible things to all of us, and
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. I want kids to be safe. I have grandkids. I don't want them out on the road. I don't want an asshole driving 100. But guess what? All of these speed zones changes in the cities are about money grabs.
Yeah, I
When
would
you make
imagine so.
$1 million in a month, and people are saying, "Hey, I didn't know. Hey, I didn't know." Uh,
So
I don't
here's
know.
my question for you, though. Okay, Cohoes Boulevard. You've got those. You've got that electronic sign that says 35 miles per hour. Is that a state road, or does the 25 now apply to that?
I have no idea. I
Because
all
it
I know
says
is
35 miles per hour. So I guess I'm in the city of Cohoes. If I'm on that road and I'm doing more than 25, do I get ticketed?
no within the cities.
It's
Within
in
the
city
state,
limits,
yeah, there's some way. We had somebody.
but it is a state road.
We had people that dealt with that,
Yeah,
we had the traffic commission. They knew all the rules. I didn't know
yeah,
the rules. I got to be honest with you. I'm not the best at driving 15. I really
yeah.
ain't. I get driving and I forget things, and I'm thinking about shit, and next thing I know I'm doing 28, 30 miles an hour.
Hmm.
So here's what happens, right? Um, Joanna said, why have the no fit? What does it say?
Well, they didn't
Not
fix the
fit,
flashing
like,
traffic
they
signals.
don't
What
care. Again,
Joanna's saying.
Joanna, it's about making money. That's all it is. It's about making money. I'm driving down Columbia Street like I've done 50 years,
Mhm.
and it's about 9 o'clock, so all the kids are already in school, right?
Right,
And all of a sudden,
especially you.
they pull me over, and they say, "You know how fast you were going?" I said, "Yeah, probably 28, 32." I said, "Well, it's 32. It's a big deal.
Okay.
30 miles an
So what
hour."
about it?
He goes, "It's 15. It's a school zone." And I said, "All the kids are in school," but he wasn't giving tickets out.
Right.
To their credit, and I get it.
Yeah.
They were trying to get people to slow down,
Yeah.
and I get it. I really do.
Yeah.
It,
Well,
it,
I
it,
mean, the certain when they have these flashing signs with lights flashing and everything during a certain period of time that give you a warning. Okay, to
well,
slow down.
yeah. There
We
has to
haven't
be
gotten to that point yet, have we?
no, no. I think there's one or two. There needs to be a better system in place,
Yeah, they
right?
have them where they flash. I know they do at
Yeah,
Mechanicville.
we had
Okay,
one solar
right.
one
They
flash.
they flash on both directions, saying slow down to 20
But
miles per hour,
if you
and they
drive down
light up
70,
during school hours.
if you drive down 787, you see them on the highway. Tells you
Hmm.
how fast you're going. They
Yeah,
should have those by schools,
yeah,
right? Because you're driving. And Cohoes is kind of an odd situation, right? Because the schools sit up off the main road. They're
yeah.
up on the hill,
Hmm.
right? So you're driving one of the main streets in the city on
Yeah,
Ransom Street, or on Columbia Street.
yeah.
I mean, that's one of the main streets, right? And so you're driving coming off of Colony past Stewart's. That's all 30 miles an hour.
Hmm.
You're just driving. And
Right.
there's not a lot to say, boom, slow down, school zone. So they should make a big sign, get the flashing lights, do the right thing. If it's not about a money grab and it's about public safety, then buy the stuff you need to make sure people know what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm just listening to Jimmy. Jimmy Girl says, "Well, part of the problem is you can't drive in Cohoes because of all the potholes.
You can drive
That's
down
why you got
Western
to
Avenue.
drive 25 miles per hour, Jimmy.
You can
They
drive down
reduced it so
Western
you don't
Avenue.
damage your car."
Hey, so listen, you got Donald Trump coming in office in a short order, right? A couple days,
Hmm.
and you got Uncle Joe, who's senile and should be in the Albany
Letting
County
all
Nursing
the
Home.
letting all the
He's
Gitmo
he's
terrorists
he's
out.
he's doing everything he can to destroy this country. I mean,
Yeah,
no president has ever. Jimmy's going to yell at me because he's a Biden fan.
yeah,
Everybody, listen. you could do no more to destroy this country than open up the borders, let all these people in, and expect good things are going to happen,
Yeah.
right? Close down the prison and take all those terrorists and send them back to a terrorist company and expect them to be good citizens driving 25 miles an hour in a 30, right? And that's
Well,
that's bad enough, but this one is really, I had a laugh because I'm thinking, all right, you're doing all these things and you're trying to justify, humanity and doing the right thing for people, but and then all of a sudden, your last hurrah is trying to eliminate cigarettes in the United States of
yeah.
America. You're gonna. I don't want a cigarette. You may not want a cigarette.
Hmm.
That girl up there saying, "Hey, this is the United States. I'm going to
Hmm.
smoke." They once tried something with booze, right? And
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
"We're going to eliminate booze,"
Hmm.
and that was the biggest boom for the criminals ever because they made the booze, they sold the booze, they gave out the booze, right?
Yeah.
And and that's how these big organized crime families started, right? It started with
Yeah.
prohibition. So who
Yeah.
do you think is going to sell the cigarettes? Well, the cartels already selling
Yeah.
they're already bringing the people to the United States, getting 30,000 to bring the criminals over.
Yeah. And they're going to
Maybe the next,
rename, right? They're going to rename the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America,
well, maybe they should. Maybe it should be.
Mara Logo, Mara, what is it? Mara Logo Lagoon,
I know. Trump's as crazy as the rest of them, but there's no
right?
doubt about it. But he won't
Canada's the
stop.
51st state. We're going to buy Greenland too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the shit he
Uh,
does is it makes you crazy. But at the
yeah.
end of the day, he's got to stop the people from coming across the border. He's
Yeah.
not going to steal your cigarettes. He's
Yeah.
going to try to drill, baby, drill. He's getting rid of this bullshit, this green initiatives where everybody's got to. I mean, in New York,
Yeah.
a couple years, when you build apartments and houses, you cannot have gas.
Yeah. Got rid of gas stoves.
I mean, I can't wait till somebody elects a governor in this state that says, hang on a minute, let's step back and realize we don't have enough energy as it is. We don't have enough electricity as it is. And guess what? That gas is a little bit cheaper and it warms your house a little better. I got electric and I got my house is a split level, right? So down in my living room in the basement area and upstairs in the bedrooms, I have electric. The
Yeah.
other part of my house is a furnace that has hot water. It is a lot warmer downstairs than it is when I turn it upstairs because the heat is different, right? I don't
Hmm.
know if hot water radiates more heat or there's more energy or what it is, but I got to turn the electric up on 90 instead of 72. So bottom line is we just need to do the right thing. And when Joe Biden wants to leave his legacy, and the last thing he's talking about is banning cigarettes in a country where we're supposed to be free,
Yeah.
that tells you that he's out of touch, and he's got to go down with a legacy, all right. But it's going to be the lowest rated president in the history of the United States of America.
Well, Sean, I want to leave you with this thought. Uh, the governor of California, Newsom, is now requiring all the trees to now wear masks to stop the spread of virus.
This Newsom he's out of his mind, this guy. He's a total train wreck. He's the
Yep.
he's a smooth character, man. He
Yep.
really is. Somehow he convinces you that 1,000 people shooting heroin on the middle of a sidewalk
Yep.
where kids are walking by from school is an education
Yep.
lesson that they will learn and never want to do.
So tonight your house gets burned down in California, but the smelt lives on.
Hey, listen, everybody. Missed you guys. Glad that you could all join us. Great podcast, Timmy. It was great to talk to you. Jimmy, I am a Cowboy fan to the end. You were a Pittsburgh fan with my buddy Jimbo. Both of you losers. Hey, sorry about it. See you next year in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Everybody
right.
else, God bless you. Be safe. Please
Yeah.
be careful out there. It's cold. Make sure that you check on, if you live next to any old people, please check on them. If you see anybody outside freezing, pay it forward. Try to help them. And maybe we'd all be better off if we were a lot better at helping each other than putting each other down. But until next week, Timmy and
Okie
everybody
doke.
else,
We'll see you next
God bless you.
Wednesday.
I'll see you later.